everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sonia and I'd love it if you could subscribe. And if you're already an existing subscriber, welcome back. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing my first update for the Enjoy Your Eyeshadows project pan. So this is a project created by Deb over at Deb B. I'll make sure to have her channel below and all the other lovely ladies that are participating in this project as well. So everyone will be linked below. So this project is where you just enjoy using your eyeshadows. You can use your eyeshadows any way you would like. For example, you could do like no pan left behind, anything like that. I'm doing it is I'm going through my collection. I'm picking 2 eyeshadow palettes and then I'm randomising 2 eyeshadow palettes, and then I'm just using them for the week and just seeing what I think to them. So last month I did roll in 5. I think what I'm going to be doing going forward is I'm just going to be rolling 4 because I haven't had a chance to use the last one yet. I'm using it this week but I don't really know what I think to it. So I think going forward I'm just going to roll 4 in and I can use them for the week, and then by the time I am filming this video I know my opinions on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the eyeshadow palettes I have used, then I will talk about the 2 I will be rolling in, and then I will then randomise 2 eyeshadow palettes. So for this project the updates go up the 4th of every month. If I've missed anything I'll make sure to leave it below, but without further ado, let's get into it. So the first one I picked myself last month was the Urban Decay Back Talk palette, and I was just focusing on the eyeshadow side. This definitely looks more used and loved than what it did before, and I really enjoyed using this. Considering the age of this palette, it performed really well. And I did manage to use all of the shades in here, I think apart from, what did I write down? Altitude and 180. Those were the only 2 I wasn't able to use, but I did use all the rest of them. I really enjoyed using Bare and Curve as like a one eyeshadow look. So when I'm going into the office, I usually only try and put like one eyeshadow on my eye just because it's fast and easy, and I usually don't have a lot of time in the morning. But I was surprised at how well this performed considering how long it has been in my collection. I really thoroughly enjoyed using these. These are the shades I would use every day if I could. So yeah, really enjoyed using that. One thing as well is Deb always asks if we can choose a peak and a pit every month from the eyeshadow palettes that we've used. So I will be doing that after I've spoken about the ones I have used. So the next one I chose was a Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. This is what it looks like inside. Hopefully you can see that. It's really reflective. I didn't get a chance to use this one as much because I wasn't very well the week that I was using this palette. I did still manage to use quite a few of the shades, but just didn't get to use it as much as I would have liked. I wasn't wowed by this palette. I hoped I would have been, because I previously, thinking back, Too Faced used to be one of my favourite formulas, but I just wasn't wowed by this palette. I mean, the shades are pretty, but I think if I had to choose between which one I would have preferred to have used, it would have definitely been the Urban Decay one over this. I mean, it's not bad that I want to get rid of it from my collection. Like, it isn't, but it's just not, I just don't think it's my favourite formula anymore. And that surprised me, because if you'd have asked me before using these, I'd have been like, Too Faced is my absolute favourite, but I don't know if it's just because this one's getting old now though, that it maybe doesn't perform as well as what I remember. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed by that, but bear in mind, like I said, I was ill the week that I was using that, so I didn't get to use it as much as what I would have liked. The next one I have was the Charlotte Tilbury Darling palette. There is no surprise that I loved using this because it's one of my favourites in my collection. And it looks like this. I found a lot of these worked really pretty as just like a one and done eyeshadow look, which was perfect when I was going in the office. I did use all of the shades in this palette as well, including this one, which isn't usually a shade I would reach for, but I did use it, and yeah, absolutely one of my favourites. I already said this though when I randomly rolled this one in last month. I knew that this was a favourite and I knew that I would really enjoy using it. And then the last one I used, which was last week, was the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice Palette. And this is what it looks like. So when I went to go and use this, I just didn't feel very inspired. And I'm not sure why, because when I'm looking at this palette now, I'm like, I love the purples, I love the pinks. I did use these two for a look. I found that this one was quite crumbly. I did use these two, and then I had to take it off because I just didn't really like the way that it looked. But again, I didn't get much of a chance to use this because, if I'm honest, over the last week I've barely worn any makeup. There's just been other things that have been more of a priority, so I haven't worn makeup as much. But like I said, I just wasn't feeling super inspired by this. It's something I'm going to keep, but it's not a favourite anymore. I do think I would like to at some point try and reach for these because I think these are really, really, really pretty. But yeah, just wasn't feeling very inspired by that one. So that was all of them that I used. Like I said, I did roll 5 in last month, but I'm going to roll in the 5th one into this month, and then I'll be able to play with it this week and see what I think. So, my peak and my pit. Let's start with the pit and let's end on a high and a positive with a peak. So my peak, I think, has to be the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. As beautiful as it is, like I said, I just wasn't feeling very inspired when I was trying to use it. It's still a nice formula, you know, it's not bad, and it is one I'm going to keep, but I just didn't enjoy it that much, which is a shame. And then my peak, I'm not going to choose my Charlotte Tilbury one because I know I already love that one. My peak is going to be the Too Faced Back Talk palette because I fell in love with this one when I used it this month. I mean, I knew that the shades were going to be up my street, but I just fell back in love with it. I could use all of these shades. If this was the only eyeshadow palette I had in my collection, I would be happy, and to me I think that's why that deserves the peak. So now let's talk about the 2 eyeshadow palettes I'm going to be rolling in to work on over the next month. So the first one is the Cab Cosmetics one. So this is the one that I rolled in as my 5th palette. I have used it today. My first impression, because this is the first time I have used it, is the formula is very crumbly. This is what it looks like, and I used these 3 shades today in this look. I don't think it would take long to hit pan in these. Just the amount of powder that comes off them, I just don't think it would take that long to hit pan. But I'm bringing this one in because, like I said, I've only used it today. So I have all week to use it and see what I think to it. But I do really like the look of it. I think it's meant to be a dupe for one of the Huda Beauty palettes. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, I'm going to bring this one in to use for this week. I do think going forward I'm just going to keep bringing in 4 because I know I'll definitely be able to get through those. And then the second one I'm going to pick to roll in is the Huda Beauty Coral Obsessions palette. So this is one that I brought in to my Women Who Rock, like this. I want to be able to focus on this and try and get my uses because I need to use this one 9 times for that prompt. So I want to be able to try and at least get some uses on it, and then I can use it as a companion palette for other palettes as well. This is the other one I'm going to bring in. I've had this one a while and it's barely had any use. I mean, a lot of the palettes that I have in my collection are either untouched or used a handful of times, which I'm trying to get a lot better at not buying eyeshadow palettes because I have so many beautiful ones in my collection that need to be shown some love. So now I'm at the point where I'm going to randomise 2 eyeshadow palettes. So I have 71 eyeshadow palettes left to choose from. So hopefully you're going to be able to see this. So the first one is the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. I haven't used this palette before, so that is exciting. Also, I'm really sorry if you can hear any noise outside. We've got some planes that are flying around. And then the second one I will be working on is the I Heart Revolution Wishes and Dreams palette. Okay, so what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go and get those palettes and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I have the two palettes that were randomised for me. The first one is the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. I have had this in my collection for over a year now and I haven't used it. I'm sure everyone knows what this looks like, but here we go. This was such a favourite for a lot of people on YouTube for a long time, but I don't see it being talked about anymore. I'm curious to see what I think to this. I definitely think that this is more of a maybe autumn palette, but I use my palettes all year round. I'm not really seasonal with my makeup. If I want to wear it, I usually do. But yeah, so that is what the ABH Modern Renaissance palette looks like. And then I have the I Heart Revolution Wishes and Dreams. So both of these that I rolled, I have not used before. So this is what this one looks like. This one's very, very pink. I love the look of this one. So I quite like the Revolution formula. I Heart Revolution, Revolution Pro, Revolution, all of the brands. I really do like the formula on these and they're really inexpensive. I'm really looking forward to using Wonderland. This one looks beautiful. Utopia, Sweet Dreams, Days, Curious About Wishes as well. I just think that this one looks like a really beautiful palette. Those are the four I'm going to be bringing in. So we have the Cab Cosmetics Day and Night Eyeshadow Palette, the Huda Beauty Coral Obsessions Palette, the ABH Modern Renaissance Palette, and the I Heart Revolution Wishes and Dreams Palette. So I'll come back next month, I'll let you know what I think to these. I'll choose my peak and my pit, and then I will choose 2 more eyeshadow palettes and we'll randomly generate 2 more. So I hope you enjoyed this. I feel like there's so much noise going on right now that it's really distracting. I think that this is just the perfect project. I have really been enjoying using a different eyeshadow palette each week, and I'm just enjoying really getting to know my eyeshadow collection and potentially in the future maybe decluttering some of them if I'm not really enjoying them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to stop rambling now because we're going to be here forever if I keep rambling on. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe if you don't already. Like I said, I'll make sure to leave Deb's channel below and everyone else that is participating. I recommend going over and checking out all of their channels. And until my next video, thank you for coming by. See you later.